So greetings everyone. Nice day outside. So, pros and cons about owning your own property. I'm relatively new in this area, and I'll say I have definitely learned a lot since acquiring my own land, my own property, and I'm sure many of you guys that have gone around the same route have definitely had your fair share of learning. So I'm going to point out a few pros and cons of what it's like to own your own property, and for those of you that are thinking about doing it, then just know what you're getting into and how you can make it the most painless process and journey as possible. So obviously many of you know that I've bought some land up in the Daintree rainforest, which is far north Queensland, and it is an incredible place to be. And I feel so blessed that I'm like the keeper for the land that I've bought, and it's magic up there. It really is. And despite the insects, despite the sandflies, the mosquitoes, and you know the weather, because the temperament, it all looks very idyllic on a postcard, the tropics, but if you're not willing to put up with humidity, extreme humidity in the rainforest, along with all the insects and wilderness, then it's not the place for you. And I really appreciate that nature lives there as well. So I believe we can create a nice harmonious blending living arrangement together. Okay, so obviously that's the first thing, is the temperament. If you're looking at getting your own place but you're not I guess you're not comfortable with living in a tropical environment, then of course you would need to go somewhere where the temperature is much more stable, as in cool and more dry, as opposed to being humid. That's your first obstacle, because if you're planning to work and build on your block and you cannot stand the environment you're in, you're going to drive yourself crazy. So that's a big thing. So you've got to be flexible. I would say another con is the council. And I'm sure many of you that own your own property will know what I'm talking about. The rules, regulations, the limitations, the protocol in place for building a dwelling or a shed or a driveway or a concrete slab or whatever it is you're doing. You need council approval, and I'm the first to say it. I hate rules. I hate being told what to do. All my life I've done things my own way, and to suddenly come in and have these rules and regulations and being told what you can and cannot do, and this has to be 5 meters from the driveway, and you can't build 2.342 meters away from a boundary. I mean, it's just, there's so much jurisdiction in place. There's so many limitations when it comes to the council, and by all means you can build illegally, but you probably get found out about, and they'll probably give you a hefty fine, make you bring it down, or I don't know what. But at least being in a World Heritage listed site like I am, or an area, council regulations are through the roof. And I'll say that just I've been working with a building designer with my incredible utopic idea, and it is a headache process, as in lots of paperwork, and it has to be done right. It has to be done right, because if it's not done right, they won't approve it, and you can't build your house. But even before the approval process, it's the finance, the budget and the payment that you have to, you have to pay for your approval. You have to pay for the building designer. Building designers are a lot cheaper than architects. I mean, I could never afford an architect at this point. And you need to have those people involved with this project because um, they're the ones that make your plans official and that are recognized by the council. So if you don't have those, you're going to have a really hard time building on your land or on your property. Like, I'm Freddie, my neighbor, awesome neighbor, was saying to me how back in the day, you could just put up whatever you wanted, no need for council approval on anything. And things have just changed so much. It's just so many rules, so many regulations, and I'm trying to work with it. But I'll say I am not a person that likes rules at all. So feeling constricted or working with boundaries is something I'm going to have to be flexible with. So it's a good learning experience for me as well. So you can work with that, and you can make it work. As soon as you get approval, you're good to go. You're good to go and do whatever you want then, you know. Um, so you just gotta, even though you may have this lofty idea of what you want, you've just still gotta get your guidelines and conform to what the council requires you to do. And I'll say it's a pain in the ass. It's a pain in the ass. Mark my word. So that's another thing. Of course, another challenge or con, I will say, is obviously we live in the modern day world. To not have readily available energy and water and shelter, it's such a big thing, like it's so hard to live without those staple necessities. You've got to have them in place. Like, so I've got a water tank now. I've got a 5,000 liter water tank on my block. I've got shelter. I've got my tent and a massive big tarp area. And I have solar panels. I don't have much, but I have some, so I can charge my computer, run a fan, whatever. But if you don't have those things, it is so hard to live without. It is so hard to live without energy. It's so hard to live without water. These are necessities that we have to get by. We can't survive without water and shelter, especially in this area. If a cyclone comes and you've got no protection, I mean, you're screwed. Like, yeah. So anyway, you've just got to have those things. So if you don't have them, I would say it's hard to survive. Hard to survive. And I really give it up for our ancestors and the ancient ones that lived on the land, and like what a hard life and it would be, if you didn't know how to survive on the land. It's hard if you don't know, and hard not to have those basic amenities that we're so accustomed to having these days. Okay, so enough about the negative things. Well, they're not negative, but like the challenges and the cons. The pros about having your own place: it is yours, and you can basically do what you want with it or design it how you want. Like your house design, you pretty much have free way of how you want to design your house, which is great. And it's yours then. You don't owe anyone anything. You don't have to pay rent for the rest of your life. If you have a mortgage, you're just paying yourself. And once it's all paid off, you don't have to owe anyone anything. Another pro is that you can have your own sustainable living. You have your own food growing. You have your own water source. You have your own energy. You are completely sufficient, self-sufficient, off the grid, off the system. You are off the system. And I'll say my neighbor Freddie, he is off the system. He's got his own water. He's got his own energy. And he's running things all day on his block, He has so much energy on his block; it's unbelievable, and no, no bills, no nothing, and he's got shelter, and it's just so comfortable once you have all that. So, and you can have that, and he has his own amazing fruit trees. I told you he had that amazing 22-year-old durian tree. Like, seeing the fruit on that and seeing it grow, it's amazing. And you can have that, and when you plant them, that means you have your own food and sustenance then, and if you're not vegan, you can eat chicken eggs, or you can grow, you can grow wheat, you can make your own bread, there's so many things you can do. You can grow your own nuts on trees. um, you are limitless to what you can do. And there's such a list of things, especially in this part of the world, at least for me, the pros. Like, I'm in the middle of a tropical rainforest. I see the beach from the top of my land. Like, nothing can beat that. It's so pristine. The air is so clean. It's so quiet. It's magic up there, and it makes it worth going through all the headache with the council. I'll say that my biggest headache is the council, because it costs money. The headache is that it just costs a lot of money to get things done. Um, Actually, I've created a little fun thing. I forgot what the website was named, but it's called like Andulairah's Utopic Home or Dwelling or something I've got on there. And if you feel at all compelled to donate, I'm not just talking about finance, but like like advice about design and architect design, like, and building. If you guys, any of you are builders or understand formwork with concrete, like, that's invaluable advice to me. How to use tools properly. Like, I'm learning all this from scratch. So, if any of you guys have advice and can just donate your advice and information, and if you feel compelled to donate money, even $1, $2, whatever. If I've inspired you, you know, in your life with things that I talk about on my channel and in my life, like, that there is nothing more satisfying than that. And if you feel guided to donate, then please, I would appreciate your help and your support. That doesn't have to mean like monetarily. Everybody seems to think, or not everybody, but obviously many people think that donations are just simply monetary, and they're not. Like I need so much advice and help with understanding, how to create a structure to live in. Like, I've never done anything like that in my life, and tools and supplies, and yeah, like, there's so many things that I need to learn, especially to do with architecture. Like, if any of you guys have building backgrounds or architectural backgrounds, please let me know. And if you can help me cut costs in helping me design my plans right, then that would, I would so appreciate that. Because even now I cannot retain you know, a proper building design. I mean, I've got one, but still I cannot. I'm only limited to how much I can use him, because his charges through the roof as well. And of course, I'm a rich person, and so if anyone has any guidance with that, like, that would just be so invaluable to me. Anyway, of course, money comes, money goes, and as much as I say to people that you don't need money in your life, money is not an evil here. Money is not an evil, and I've been quick to reinforce that to people, because it's not. Money is neutral, just like this phone is neutral, just like this clip is neutral. We give it the definition, and we can allow abundance to be manifested into our lives, whether it be money, whether it be food, or whatever. Money is not an evil here. It's a system in place that has been abused and is abused, you personally do not have to be a part of that abuse or excessiveness, or that methodology about if money is good or bad. So it's really all comes down to a personal choice. So anyway, yeah, I believe you can have a nice blending of the both. And like I've said to you many times before, we live in a material world. Unless you're living or you're a breatharian, or you can manifest money into thin air, and I'm sure people can. We live in a material world. We need money to survive, buy plants, buy equipment, buy shelter, buy food. We cannot live without it. And I don't know anybody that lives without money. So, and if you're living without money, let me know. Let me know how you did that. But you would have had to have money to at least build a structure or build a shelter or buy a tank. Everything costs money. We live in a monetary world right now. Anyway, pros and cons of owning your own property. I hope I've addressed some of them. I thank you for your time once again. I thank you for listening. So and by all means, you can contact me on the website if you've got advice, like I said, with donating your time, with donating some advice. I'll put some links in the description box below. By all means, I am an open channel for whatever is meant to be. So this has been my experience so far. It's a slow process, and I'm working through it. But I'm hoping to be up on my blog a lot more permanently than what I'm doing, because I've been working a lot. I haven't been able to spend as much time as I like up there. That's going to change in the next couple of months. Anyway, may your days be blessed, passionate, and beautiful. I send you my love.